So let's start with the Mangalacharan. Namo Ariyantaram, Namo Siddharam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savvasahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Savva Pava Parasano, Mangalarancha Savvesim, Paramam Avai Mangalam, Ragadvesha Vijetaram, Gnataram, Vishtavastuna, Sakra Pujya Giramesam, Tirte Samstrutimanai, Pannage cha Surendre cha Kausike Pada Sanskruse Nirvisesha Manaskaya Shri Veera Swamine Namaha. So thank you everyone. Welcome to our seventh session of Tirthankar Charitra. So in this session, we will continue with our discussion of Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jeevan Charitra. So we will discuss the childhood of Bhagwan Rishabhdev as well as the marriage and the Rajya of the Bhagwan Rishabhdev in this class. So just to revise what we discussed in our last class, so we were talking about the classifications of the Panchindriya Jeevs. So now you might already have memorized this. So there are 535 classifications of Panchindriya Jeevs as per Jeev Vichar. And in the first few classes, we discussed the 198 classifications of the Devs in the Devlok. And in the last couple of classes, we also discussed about 14 classifications of the Jeevs of Narki. So we saw there are 7 naraks from Ratna Prabha, Sarkara Prabha, all the way to Tama Prabha and Mahatama Prabha. And we also saw the names of the Jeevs in this narak. So we saw the names of the Jeevs are Dhamma, Vansha, Shaila, Anjan, Rishta, Magha, and Magvati. So all the 7 types of Jeevs that are in the narak, they can be both Paryapt and they can be both Aparyapt. So for the first Antar Murat, that is first 48 minutes, all the Jeevs are Aparyapt and they complete the, yeah, if you can mute. Yeah, so for the first Antar Murat, all the Jeevs are Aparyapt. And as we saw that minimum Ayushya of all the Jeevs of Narki is 10,000 years. So it's mandatory that all the Jeevs becomes Paryapt in after 48 minutes. So similar to Devlok, all the Jeevs, they become Paryapt. They do not die in the Aparyapt Avastha. Now, if you consider human beings, Manushya and Tiryansh, we can die in the Aparyapt Avastha. But the Jeeves of the Devlok and Jeeves of the Narki, they cannot die in the Aparyapt Avastha. So we were seeing the description of the 7 bhumis of Narak, and we saw the thickness of the Narak bhumis, they decreases as it goes down. So the first Ratnaprabha Narak was 180,000 yojans, and it goes down to 108,000 yojans for the 7th Narak. Now the width or the breadth of it's a circular, so it's a diameter, it increases from 1 rajju to 7 rajjus as you go down. So in this class, we are going to see some of the detailed structures of these 7 naraks. So in our last classes, we saw that all these narak bhumis, they are supported by 3 layers. There is a layer of Ganodadi, that is a thick liquid water. And this Ganodadi is 20,000 yojans. After Ganodadi, there is a layer of Ganvat, and below Ganvat is a layer of Tanvat. So Ganvat is thick air, and Tanvat we saw is a thin air. And this Ganvat and Tanvat are Asankhya yojans. And below Tanvat, there is Asankhya yojan of Akash. So this is a basic structure of the 7 Narkavas and how they are supported. So in last class, we saw that the Ayushya and the height, and as well as the pain and the torture, everything increases from the first to 7th Narak. We saw the Jeeves of the first Narak as 7 Dhanushya height, and Jeeves of the 7th Narak has 500 Dhanushya of height. And similarly, the Ayushya increases from minimum 10,000 years to 33 Sagaropams. So the pain, the Ayushya, and the height of the Jeev, they increases as you go down from the first to 7th Narak. So in the last class, we saw some of the detailed structure of the Ratna Prabha Narak. In this class, we'll see some of the detailed structures for all the other 6 types of Naraks. So just to briefly revise, the Ratna Prabha Narak we saw is 180,000 yojans. And the first 1,000 yojans, you have got the Nikai for Vyantar and Vyan Vyantar Devta. And after that, this Narak Bhumi is divided into 13 Pratars and 12 Antras. The 13 Pratars are the 13 Bhumis where the Jeeves of Narkis can be born. And 12 antras are the places where the Asur Kumar Devtas like Nag Kumar, Suvana Kumar, they can stay. So this is alternate. There is a Narak Pratar, then there is Antra. Then there is Narak Pratar, there is Antra. And all the Narak Pratars in all the 7 Naraks, they are 3000 yojans. So it's the same height for all the 7 Narkis. So Narak Pratar, the height of Narak Pratar, they remain 3000 yojans for all the 7 Narkis. But the size of Antra, they vary as we go from one Narak to another Narak. So depending on where the Jeev is born, in which pratar, in a particular narak, the ayushya also increases. So if a Jeev is born in the first pratar, he has got the least ayushya, and if the Jeev is born in the later pratar, the ayushya increases. So in just the first narak, there are 13 bhumis or 13 pratars where the Jeev of Narkis can be born. So this is all the revision we were seeing last time. And we also saw that Jeeves of Narkis, they suffer from 3 types of pains. So we saw that they suffer from Kshetragna pain, that is the pain of the geographical conditions and the environmental conditions. They have Paramadhamikrut pain and they have Anyakrut pain. Now Paramadhamikrut pain only exists up till the 3rd Narak. Paramadhami cannot travel beyond 3rd Narak. So their Avgana or their maximum travel is only up till the 3rd Narak, and they cannot travel beyond the 3rd Narak. So in Tattvat Sutra, we saw there are 10 types of Kshetragna pain. There is a pain of hunger, there is a pain of thirst, there is a pain of cold climate, there is a pain of hot climatic conditions, there is a pain of fever or pain. And we saw the Jeeves of 7th Narak have got 5 crore 68 lakhs 99,584 diseases all the time. There is a pain of burning sensation, there is a pain of itching, there is pain of bonded slavery, there is constant fear, and there is constant sorrow and grief. So these are the 10 types of pain that are known as Kshetragna pain, and this pain increases as you from 1st Narak to 7th Narak. And we also saw the Anyakrut pain. The Jeeves of Narkis, they are born with Asub Leshya, and we'll talk about Leshya today. We'll see what type of Leshyas each of the Jeeves of Narki has. But Jeeves of the Leshya, the Jeeves of the Narkis, they are born with Asub Leshya, and therefore they are constantly quarreling and fighting amongst each other, and they torture each other. It's almost like a slaughterhouse in the Bhumi of Narkis. And we saw the 15 types of Parmadhamis that inflict the pain on the Jeeves of Narkis till the first 3 Naraks. And we saw some of the Parmadhamis, they act in pairs, like and Ambarish, Shyam and Shabal, Rudra and Uprudra, Kal and Mahakal, they all act in pairs. While some of the Parmadhamis, they only act individually, like Asi, Patradhanu, Kumbh, Valuka, they all act individually. And in the last class, we saw that what happens to the Jeeves of Paramadhami after they die. So they are born as a Angulik Manushya in the southern part of Jambudvip. And this place is extremely dangerous and scary place, and it's frightening place. And they are very, they are non-vegetarian, they are alcoholic, they are black in complexion, and they are 12.5 feet in height. And these Jeeves of Paramadhami, the Angulik Manushya, they are waterborne human beings. That means they can travel inside the water and they can get the Ratna from the seas. And these Jeeves, Angulik Manushya, they are caught by the traders and they are locked up in the vessel and they are grinded for 1 whole year. So their body is grinded for 1 year and it becomes powder. And after that, these traders, they recover the Ratna from this Angulik Manushya. And all this Angulik Manushya, they are born as Jeeves of Narki. So Paramadhamis, they die, they are born as Angulik Manushya, they are tortured for 1 year. And after that, they are again born as a Jeeves of Narkis. And last class, we stopped here and we saw that why Paramadhami Jeeves, they enjoy giving torture. It's because of their Papanubandhi Punya. The punya they do, it's with the anubandh of pap, and that's why they enjoy giving pain and tortures to other jeeves. Okay, so in this class we'll further discuss about the bhumis of narak. We'll see what each type of bhumi of narak is made of. We'll see the structure of each of the 7 naraks. So we saw that Ratna Prabha Narak is 180,000 yojans. And we saw that the first 1,000 yojans and the bottom 1,000 yojans, there are no dwelling places for the Jeeves of Narki to be born. So Jeeves of Narki cannot be born in the first 1,000 yojans or the bottom 1,000 yojans of the Ratnaprabha Narak. So similar to Ratnaprabha Narak, all the 6 Naraks, the 1 to 6, they have similar structure. So they have in the first 6 Naraks, the first 1,000 yojans and the bottom 1,000 yojans, there are no dwelling places for the Jeeves of Narki. Now the 7th Narak is little different. The 7th Narak, there is no dwelling place for the first 52,500 yojans and the bottom 52,500 yojans. So if you see the Ratnaprabha Narak, you can do your own calculations. When you go back, the calculations are pretty simple, and I will briefly describe how to do the calculations. So the height of Ratnaprabha Narak is 180,000 yojans. So if you leave out the first 1,000 and bottom 1,000 yojans, you will get 178,000 yojans. Now this 178,000 yojans is divided into 13 pratars and 12 antras for the first Ratnaprabha Narak. And as we saw, each pratars are the place where the Jeeves of Narkis are born, and each pratar is 3,000 yojans. So there are 13 pratars. So if you do 13 times 3,000, it comes to 39,000 yojans. And then if you subtract 39,000 yojans from 178,000 yojans, there is a balance of 139,000 yojans. So in this 139,000 yojans, there are 12 antras. So if you divide 139,000 yojans with 12, each antra is 11,583 yojans approximately. So each pratar is 3,000 yojans and each antra is 11,583 yojans. So this is the first Narak. Now, if you see the second Narak, so second Narak, the height is 132,000 yojans. And in this second Narak, again, you have to leave the first 1,000 yojans on the top, and you have to leave the bottom 1,000 yojans on the below. So if you subtract the 2,000 yojans, you will get 130,000 yojans. And this in second Sarkarprabha Narak, there are 11 pratars. So in the first Ratnaprabha Narak, there were 13 pratars. In the second Sarkarprabha Narak, there are 11 pratars, and there are 10 antras. So if you multiply 11 times 3,000, you will get 33,000. And if you subtract 33,000 from 1,30,000, and then you can divide the remaining 97,000 by 10. So each antra is 9,700 yojans. So similarly, you can do your own calculations for all the 6 naraks. So if you consider a third narak, Valuka Prabha, it is 128,000 yojans. You have to deduct 2,000, so it comes to 120,000 yojans. And in this Valuka Prabha, there are 9 pratars and 8 antras. Okay, so number of pratars goes on decreasing as you go down. Then in the fourth narak, there are 7 pratars and 6 antras. In the 7th Narak, there are 5 pratars and 4 antras. And in the 6th Narak, there are 3 pratars and 2 antras. Okay. Now, if you consider, now the 7th Narak is slightly different. The 7th Narak, there is only 1 pratar and there is no antras. And the height of the pratar is again remains the same as 3,000 yojans. And there is emptiness. There is nothing for the first 52,500 yojans on the top and the 52,500 yojans on the bottom. So now if you see all the 7 Narkavas, this is a complete chart. So let me do the pointer here. So if you see Ratnaprabha Narak, the thickness is 180,000 yojans. You have to leave 2,000 yojans. This is a balance yojan. And then number of pratars. So first Narak has 13 pratars. Second Narak has 11 pratars. Third Narak has 9, 7, 5, 3, and 1. So total, there are 49 pratars. So in short, the 7 Narkavas has 49 bhumis where the Jeeves of Narkis can be born. And the antras is 1 less than the pratar. So antras is 12 antras in the first Narak, 10 antras in the second Narak, and so on and so forth. And the last 7th Narak has no antras. And here you will find the thickness of each antra. So antras are the place, as we saw, where the Jeeves of Asur Kumar or the Bhuvanpati Devtas, they live. So in the first Ratnaprabha Narak, it's 11,583 yojans. The second, it's 9,700 yojans, and so on and so forth. So the thickness of the antras, it varies as you go from the first to sixth narak, and there is no antra in the seventh narak. So this is a complete chart on how each of these seven naraks is structured. So now let's see the appearance of all the seven naraks. So the first narak, the Ratna Prabha narak, is divided into three khands. Okay, the first 16,000 yojans, it is known as Kharkhand, and this Kharkhand is full of abundance of precious stones, and therefore it's known as Ratna Prabha. Ratna means precious stones. So the first 16,000 yojans of this Narkavas, it has got precious stones, and it's known as Kharkhand. The next 84,000 yojans, it is known as Bahulkhand, and it's full of mud. And the last 80,000 yojans, it is known as Jal Bahulkhand, and it is made up of water. So the first 16,000 is precious stones, and there are 16 types of precious stones. These are Vaidurya, Vajra, Lohit, Masar, Gala, and so on and so forth. These are the names of the 16 precious stones. And next, after the 16,000 yojans, you have got 84,000 full of mud, and after that 80,000, it's full of water. So this is how the first Ratna Prabha Narak is divided into three khands. Now the second Bhumi, the second Narak, that is Sarkara Prabha, it is abundance of stones. Okay, Sarkara means stones, and therefore it's known as Sarkara Prabha. The third Narak, Valuka Prabha, it's full of sand. In the sand, the Sanskrit name is Valuka. So therefore the third Narak is known as Valuka. Fourth Narak is known as Panka Prabha and is full of mud. The fifth Narak is known as Dhoom Prabha. And Dhoom means fog. It's made up of dense smoke or fog. The sixth Narak is known as Tama Prabha. And Tama Prabha, Tama means darkness. It's full of darkness. And the seventh Narak is known as Mahatam Prabha. And Mahatam Prabha is absolute darkness. Darkness is so extreme that one cannot see their own finger. So seventh Narak is full of absolute darkness. Okay, so now let's see the appearance of the seven naraks. So Shastra says the appearance of all the seven naraks. This is common for all the seven naraks. The appearance of all the seven naraks is black. It's like black in color, and the darkness is present in all the seven naraks, and the darkness keeps on increasing from first to seven naraks. And this darkness is extremely frightening. Now the place on where the in the prathars, it stings pretty bad. It stings of the dead cow or dead degraded bodies of dead animals. And the touch, the touch of each of these bhumis is extremely sharp. Shastra says it is sharper than the sword or sharper than even the sharpest object on earth. So you cannot touch anything over in Narak. It will cut the body. Then third is appearance. The appearance, of course, there is darkness all over, but the surface is full of impurities. It is extremely unholy. It is full of lumps of phlegm, spit, and so on and so forth. It is made up of extremely unholy pudgals, and it is disturbing black in color. The smell, the Shastra says the smell is so intense that if the Jeev of Manushya goes to Narak, it will break his head. So there is extremely bad smell and stink of urine, blood, meat, and so on and so forth. Then the taste. The taste of the materials that are found in Narak are extremely bitter. They are more bitter than the neem or the most bitter object here on earth. Then the touch. Touch is, of course, it is extremely sharp, but the touch can be extremely hot or extremely cold depending on which pratar you are born. And later on in this session, we'll see which pratar has what kind of environmental conditions. So touch is extremely hot or extremely cold. The speech. So jeeves of narkis are constantly screaming. They are the scream is extremely frightening, and they are constantly screaming, but there is no one to save them. Then the speed or the way they walk. The Shastra says the way they walk is extremely ugly because of their asub nam karma. And the pains, as we saw the first three narak as the pains of Parmadamis, but all the remaining naraks have the pain of Kshetrajna and Anyakrut pain. So because of the darkness, what happens is jeeves of narkis, they collide with each other. They cannot see the other jeeves of narkis, and as soon as they collide, they start fighting with each other. So that is about the pains. So what is not there in the narak? Okay, so in each of the pratars, so what is not there? So there is no islands, there is no sea, there is no mountains, there is no pond, there is no city or villages, there is no vegetation. So there are no trees, there are no plants, there are no grass. Then furthermore, there are no Beindriya Jeevs, there are no Trendriya Jeevs, there are no Chaurindriya Jeevs, there are no Panchindriya Jeevs. That means there are no animals. There are no devs or there are no human beings. Only two things is present in the narak. The first three naraks you will see Parmadhami and you will see the Jeeves of Narkis, and that's it. So nothing else is present in the narak. Okay, so now let's see the each of the 7 naraks. So the first 3 narak, okay, Ratna Prabha, Sharkara Prabha, and Valukar Prabha. In these first 3 narak, there is only the hot climatic conditions. There is absence of cold climatic conditions. So there is only hot climatic conditions, and this hot, it increases as you go from the first to the third narak. Now the fourth narak, depending on which pratar the jeev is born, it can be a pratar of hot climatic condition or can be a pratar of cold climatic condition. So Shastra says there are more pratars with hot conditions than the cold conditions. So hot conditions is more in abundance than the cold conditions in the fourth narak. Now the fifth narak is reversed. Both cold and hot conditions exist in the fifth narak, but the cold conditions are more, the pratars with the cold conditions are more than the pratars with the hot conditions. Now, one thing you have to remember, each pratar can only have either hot condition or the cold condition. There is no mix. It can either be hot or either be cold. And the sixth narak, there is only cold conditions. There is only pain of cold climatic conditions. And the seventh narak is there is a pain of extreme cold climatic conditions. And Shastra says the pain of cold is more painful than the pain of hot conditions. And that's why the sixth and seventh narak, only the cold conditions exist. Now the Jeeves of Narki, they have got what we call as Vaikriya Labdhi or Uttar Vaikriya Labdhi. So Vaikriya Labdhi means they can change their shape or change their form. And Uttar Vaikriya Labdhi means they can create another shape apart from themselves. So what the Jeeves of Narki they do, they change or convert the shape by using their Vaikriya or Uttar Vaikriya Labdhi and make themselves in the form of spears or gada or sword. And then they fight with other Jeeves of Narkis with this illusory body. So they make extremely powerful and painful sharp bodies, and with that they constantly fight with other Jeeves of Narkis. Now this is only present up till the fifth narak. So the Jeeves of Narkis with Vaikriya and Uttar Vaikriya Labdhi, and they can convert the shape only up till the fifth narak. In the sixth and seventh narak, what happens is there is what you call as they harass the other Jeeves of Narkis with what they call as Vajras or thunderbolt. So what they do, they can create extremely small worms that are extremely sharp, and they can create these millions of worms, and they send these worms on the other Jeeves of Narkis, and these worms they enter inside the body and completely destroy the body from inside out. So this is what the Jeeves of 6th and 7th narak they do to each other. There is no need for Pramadhamis because they themselves are giving so much pain to each other. So 6th and 7th, they can only create these Vajras. And for the first to 5th narak, they can create the shapes according to their own desire. Okay. So another important thing is who can go to up till which narak. Okay. So Shastra says asangni panchendriya, that is panchendriya tiryanj jeev without the mind. For example, there are some types of birds and some types of snakes like water snakes. They are considered as asangni panchendriya, and they can go only up till the first narak. Then the other tiryanj who are less violent like monkeys, lizards, rats, squirrels, and so on and so forth, they can only go up till the second narak. The birds, they can go up till the third narak. The violent carnivorous animals like lions, tigers, and so on and so forth, they can go up till the fourth narak. The reptiles, the snakes, the crocodiles, and extremely violent reptiles, they can go up till the fifth narak. Women can go up till sixth narak, and the male human beings and the fishes, there are certain classes of fishes like Tandulia Machla, they can go up till the seventh narak. So, this is a general rule. Right now from Ausarpini, we can only go up till the first three naraks. But this is a general rule. In the fourth ara, Jeeves can travel to all the seven naraks, depending on which gati they are. Now the Jeeves in the narak, they can be of two types. They can be either be a Samyak Drashti Jeev or Mithya Drashti Jeev. So if the Jeev has the Ayushya Karma Bandh before achieving Samyak Darshan, and they have got Ayushya Karma Bandh of Narki, then they will go to Narak, but they can still retain the Samyak Darshan. For example, Vasudev Sri Krishna, even Shranik Maharaja, they all have Ayushya Karma Bandh before achieving Shaik Samyak Darshan. So in that stage, they still have Samyak Darshan in Narak, and these Jews who have got Samyak Darshan, they are in Subhalesha. It's extremely rare, but they have got Subhalesha because of Samyak Darshan, and they think that they have done pap in the previous bhav. They recollect the pap, and they think that this is their punishment. और वो समता पूर्वक वो सभी दुख को सहन करते हैं, मतलब they with patience they can they accept this as their punishment of their pap karmas. On the contrary, the second type of Jews, there are mithya drashti. They are extremely cruel and violent, and they quarrel among themselves, and they create various shapes and weapons, and they constantly quarrel against each other. So these are all mithya drashti Jews with a false knowledge. So now we'll talk about the Leshya. We'll see what type of Leshyas the Jeeves of Narki has. So this is a famous, I think all of you might have learned this in your Pathshala. It comes from Uttradhyan Sutra. So I'll briefly go over this. It's very well explained in Uttradhyan Sutra. So we all know what is Leshya. Leshya is basically state of mind, the how you think. What is your thinking process, or what is your attitude or state of mind. That is known as Leshya. It's basically bhav. So there were six friends, and they were going on a road trip, and they get lost in the forest, and they become extremely hungry and thirsty, and they start searching for the food, and they see a fruit tree. Okay, so all the six friends, they run towards the fruit tree, and the first person, he says that let's cut down the entire fruit tree, okay, to eat the fruits. So, and the second person says there's no need to cut the entire fruit tree. Let cut the big branch. There are enough, fruits in the big branch. The third person says, why to cut the big branch? We can just cut the smaller branches. Smaller branches has enough fruits. The fourth person says that why to even cut the branches? We can just pluck the entire bunches of fruits. The fifth man says, why to even pluck the whole bunches of fruit? We can only pluck the fruits that we want to eat. And the sixth person says that there is no need to even harm the trees. There is no need to pluck the fruits. We can eat the fruits that have fallen on the ground. So these are the six type of states of mind. The first person who said to cut the entire tree is Krishna Lesha. The second person who offered to cut the whole bigger branch is a Nil Lesha. And the third person who offered to cut the small branch is Kapod Lesha. So these three are Asubh Leshas. Krishna, Nil, and Kapod, they are considered as Asubh Lesha. The fourth person who offered to cut the bunches of fruits is Tejo Lesha. The fifth person who just wanted to pick the fruits that they wanted to eat is Padma Lesha, and the sixth person who did not want to harm the tree is Shukla Lesha. So Tejo, Padma, and Shukla Lesha are Subh Leshas. So Samyak Drashti Jeev either have the Tejo or Padma Lesha. Shukla Lesha is not possible, but they can have Tejo or Padma Lesha in Narak. And all the Mithya Drashti Jeev, they have either Krishna Lesha, Nil Lesha, or Kapot Lesha. So Uttradhyan Sutra, it gives very good explanation of all the six Leshyas. So the first is Krishna Lesha. Okay, so Krishna Lesha is the lowest state of mind. This type of person, they are extremely cruel. They have no compassion. They have no mercy. And they are jealous people, and they have got animosity with other people. And this type of people, they act according to their senses. They do not think twice, and they do not they are not afraid of committing crime. So they do Jeev Hinsa. They are extremely wicked and cruel, and they are not afraid of any consequences. So these are Krishna Leshyas. So if a person dies in Krishna Lesha, then usually Narak ka Ayushya ka bandh hota hai, if a person dies in Krishna Lesha. Then second is Nil Lesha. So Uttarajan Sutra says that the person with Nil Lesha, they are proud, arrogant, and lazy. They are not as cruel as Krishna Lesha, but they commit lots of other types of crimes. So they do cheating, they do chori, they do maithun, they are extremely parigrahi, they are very high krodh, man, maya, lobh, so extremely high level of kashais. And so this type of people are nil lesha. Okay. Then third type of lesha is kapot lesha. So kapot lesha person are always sad and gloomy. Okay, they find fault of others and they are vindictive, and they get excited by small things, and they lack mental balance. Okay, and they do things that hurt others. So this type of people are kapotlesha. So Krishna, Nil, and kapotlesha, all the three are asubhleshyas, bad leshyas. The next is Tejolesha. The Tejolesha person, they know what is right and wrong, and they always try to do the right thing. Okay, so they are humble. They follow the rules, they follow the laws, and they also follow Bhagwan ki Agnya. So Bhagwan ki Agnya ka bhi adar karte. So this type of people are Tejolesha. The next is Padmalesha. Padmalesha people are extremely benevolent. They are extremely kind. वो अनुकंपा करते हैं. They are extremely forgiving. So they even forgive the people. They even forgive the enemies. Okay, and these type of people, they are usually shravaks with panch anuvrats. Okay, so they take 5 anuvrats, and they are unaffected by joys and sorrows. उनको राग द्वेष बहुत कम होता है, काफी मंद होता है, and they are able to control all their 5 senses. So this is Padmalesha. And the last is Suklalesha. Suklalesha is usually the Panch Mahavradhari sadhus who have got very mand kashais. So Swajalan kashai ke krodh man maya lobh, और वो लोग अपने generally they are in atmanubhuti, they are in their own swabhav. So this type of people is known as Suklalesha. Okay, so this Tejo, Padma, and Shukla, they are considered as Subhlesha. So now let's see what type of lesha each jiva of Narki has. So the jivs of 6th and 7th Narak, they have Krishna lesha. Okay, so Mithya Drashti Jeev in 6th and 7th Narak, they have Krishna lesha. Then the 7th Narak, then the 5th Narak, that is Dhum Prabha, the jivs can have both Nil lesha and Krishna lesha. The 4th Narak, jivs only have Nil lesha. The 3rd Narak, they can have Nil and Kapot lesha. And the first 2 Narak, the jivs have Kapot lesha. So these are the type of thinking or attitude the Mithya Drashti Jeeves of Narak has. The Samyak Drashti Jeeves, they only have the Subhlesha, even in Narak. Okay. So I think that's where we'll, conclude about the Narak. Now we'll talk about the Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jeevan Charitra. So in the last class, we talked about, the Janma Mahotsav of Bhagwan. We saw that Vajranabh Chakravarti's Jeev, after completing 33 Sagarapam Avishya, he takes birth in the Ratna Kukshi of Mata Marudeva. And we saw 3 things. We saw, the first thing we saw is Indra Maharaj comes to Mata and explain the meaning of all the 14 dreams. Then second, after 9 months and 6 days, a Yuglik is born. And first, the 56 Dikumaris come to do the Suti Karma of, Suti Karma is basically a birth of Bhagwan. And after that, we saw the Indra of the first Devlok, Sodharma and Indra, they come first and they take the Bhagwan, he forms 5 roops, and he takes the Bhagwan to the Meru Parvat to do the Snatra Mahotsav. And after that, we saw how the Devs of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, up till the 12th Devlok, they come. And also the Devs of Bhuvanpati, Vyantar, Vyan Vyantar, they all come to do the Snatra Mahotsav. And we saw that there are 64 Indras who come to do the Snatra Mahotsav. So last time we stopped over there. And in this class, we will continue with our discussion of Bhagwan Rishabhdev's. We'll first start with the childhood. Okay. So Bhagwan Rishabhdev, since a bull or an ox, there was a mark of ox or bull on Bhagwan's thighs. And since Mata Marudeva, she saw the first dream as bull or ox, therefore Bhagwan was named as Rishabhdev. Okay, he was named as Rishabh because of the bull or ox. The parents, they gave the name Sumangala to the daughter born as a twin. So if you remember, it's Yuglik Kal, right? So a son and a daughter, they are born together. So the name of the daughter is Sumangala. So since the Bhagwan or the Aryans Jeev, they do not nurse from the mother, so Bal Rushabh, he sucks the nectar placed in the thumb by Sukra at suitable times. The five Apsaras appointed as nurses by Sukra, they were present with the Bhagwan at all the times. A little less than a year has passed after Bhagwan's birth. The Vasava Dev of Saudharmendra Devlok came for establishing the family line or kul, okay, a lineage. So Vasava thought that one should not go to do the Vandan of Bhagwan empty-handed. So he decided to take a stalk of sugarcane. So Vasava Dev went before the Bhagwan, seated on Nabhi's lap, and Bhagwan, having known Dev's intention by Avdignan, raises his hand to take the stalk of sugarcane. Shakra gave the stalk of sugarcane like a present. Then Vasava went back to Devlok, having established the family lineage in the name of Ishwaku. So Ishwaku is a name of family lineage, and Ishwaku basically means sugarcane. So since the Dev, he gave the present as a sugarcane, it's known as Ishwaku Kul. So the body of Bhagwan Rishabhdev was free from any perspiration. It was free from any diseases. It was free from dirt. It was fragrant. It was very beautiful in shape, like golden lotuses. And the flesh and blood were as white as cow's milk. They were free from odor, and the process of eating and eliminating food was not visible to the naked eyes. The fragrance of his breath resembles the fragrance of the full-blown lotuses. Bhagwan having the body of Vajra Rishabh Naraj. So after, we'll discuss what is Vajra Rishabh Naraj in later on classes, but Bhagwan has the Vajra Rishabh Naraj body. And because of that, Bhagwan walked slowly with the fear of breaking the earth with his feet. Even as a child, Bhagwan spoke with a deep and soft tones. So Bal Rishabh, he played with the devs of the Devlok who had become his companions. Whatever Bal Rishabh took by hand, even in play, no Dev, even a powerful one, could snatch away from Bal Rishabh. Whoever put even a finger on Bhagwan to taste his strength went far away like a dust just from the wind of his breath. So Bhagwan was extremely powerful. For amusement of Bhagwan, some devs became parrots, some devs turned into peacocks, some devs turned into huns, some devs turned into bulls, elephants, and so on and so forth to give pleasure and amusement to Bhagwan. Bhagwan will always eat the fruits brought by the devs from UTTARKURU Kshetra, and he will always drink the water brought by devs from the Shir Samudra, that is ocean of milk. Now Bhagwan has reached the youth. In Yuglik tradition, the Yugliks are born of the same parents, that is a son and daughter. They basically marry each other. So Rishabhdev's wedding was fixed with Sumangala. However, on one day, another Yuglik was playing in the garden, and suddenly a big fruit from a palm tree, it fell down, and it killed the Yuglik boy, instantaneously on the spot. Unfortunately, this had never happened before, and this was the first accidental death, that is Akar Murtyu of this Avsarpini, that someone had died before the Ayushya. So the girl was named as Sunanda, and Sunanda was raised by their parents. But after a few days, her parents also died. So people took Sunanda to Nabhi Kulkar. So Nabhi Kulkar decided to arrange the marriage with his son Rishabh. So Rishabh, when he reached puberty, he married to Sunanda and he married to Sumangala. So this is the first time, there are two. He's marrying to the two Yuglik, that is Sunanda and Sumangala. So Bhagwan has two wives. As Saudharmendra had established Bhagwan's lineage, he felt it was his duty to attend Bhagwan's wedding ceremony. So he was present with his entire family to celebrate the Bhagwan's wedding ceremony. The Bhagwan, even though he was indifferent to the sansar, he enjoyed the pleasures with his wives for long periods of time, to destroy the Bhogavali karmas. When little less than 6 purvas had passed after the wedding, the Jeeves of Bahu and Pit fell from Saudharmendra Devlok and entered Sumangala's womb. So if you remember, if you recall, we saw the Jeevananda physician, and uh, they all had 6 friends. 6 friends. They went to the 10th Devlok, and they became Vajranabh Chakravarti, and he had 5 friends, right? So out of that, the 2 friends, they all had went to the this Devlok. Um, and so the two Jeeves, that is Bahu and Pit, they entered the wombs of Sumangala. Likewise, the Jeeves of Subahu and Mahapit, they fell from the Sarvasit Viman, and they entered the womb of Sunanda. The lady Sumangala, like Mata Marudeva, she saw 14 great dreams, indicating the importance of the embryo. Rishabhdev said, "Your son will be a Chakravarti." And Sumangala bore the children Bharat and Brahmi. So there were Yuglik, Bharat, and Brahmi. Lady Sunanda bore the children Bahubali and Sundari. In course of time, Sumangala bore 49 pairs of Yuglik boys, and Bhagwan became father of 100 boys and 2 girls. And they all grew up gradually, playing here and there, and they were extremely strong and extremely energetic. So as the third ara was slowly coming to an end, the power of Kalpavruksha had diminished. The 4 Kashais, that is Krodh, Man, Maya, Lobh, had become more prominent. And gradually, all the 3 laws set by Nabhi Kulkar, that is Hakkar, Makkar, and Dikkar, were easily transgressed upon by the Yugliks. So all the Yugliks, they approached Rishabhdev and narrated all the paps that were being committed by the people. So Rishabhdev said, it's now time to create a Rajya Vyavastha, with the king being a punisher for those who transgress the boundaries, and a king should have unbroken command. So Yuglik said to Rishabh that, please be our king. Why do you neglect us? No one else is like you or seen among us like you. Rishabhdev said, go and ask Nabhi, the best of Kulkars, and he will give you a king. So asked by Yugliks, Nabhi replied that let Rishabh be your king. So Yugliks were extremely delighted. Then the Yugliks went to get the water for Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Rajya Abhishek ceremony. Here, Swadharmendra Indra, he came down and made a golden dais and placed a lion throne. Swadharmendra made Rishabhdev as a king with the water brought from various tirths. Vasava Dev clothed the Bhagwan with divine clothing, and Vratman Dev put Mugat on Bhagwan to indicate he is a lord of 3 worlds, and also put ornament and jewels on Bhagwan's body. Now here the Yugliks, who had gone to get the water, they arrived late, and seeing the Bhagwan already adorned, stood there holding the gift. They thought now it's improper to throw the water on Bhagwan's head, and therefore they decided to throw the water on Bhagwan's feet. So here, this is interesting because when you, do the, Ashpakari Puja, and, you say the dua, Jar Bari Samputa Patrama, Yuglik Nar Pujanta, Risubhacharan Angute, Dayak Bhojananta. So that is a story that, the Shastra is describing, that the Yuglik basically did the Abhishek on the Bhagwan's feet instead of Bhagwan's head, since Bhagwan was already made king by Swadharmendra Indra. So after Rajya Abhishek ceremony, Bhagwan Dev ordered the Shrida Dev to create a new city called Vinita Nagari, and all the devs went back to their respective devloks. So here Kuber, he creates an entire new city known as Vinita Nagari, and it was also called Ayodhya. This city was 12 yojans long and 9 yojans wide. And after laying out the city, the Yaksh king filled the city with clothes. He filled the city with ornaments, grains, and all the necessary items for all the people, all the Yugliks to live there comfortably. So 20 lakhs of Purvas after his birth has passed. After his birth, Bhagwan became the king, the first king of the kings of this Avsarpini, and he took care of all the Yugliks like his old children. So Bhagwan appointed ministers who are able in punishment for the wicked and the protection of the good. So here, Bhagwan Rishabhdev established a police or a guarding, like an army against the theft. He collected elephants to make the superior branches of army. He maintained fine horses, and here Rishabhdev himself, he built chariots made up of wood, like the aerial cars on the earth. Then he collected well-trained foot soldiers. Bhagwan established the army of commanders like a very strong pillars of palace. And Bhagwan collected oxes, camels, buffaloes, mules, and so on and so forth for the skill purposes. The Kalpavruksha now had become completely extinct. So people started eating bulbs and fruits and so on and so forth. They ate everything raw, and they also ate herbs, rice, wheat, and other things that had grown automatically because of the kal. So slowly and slowly, as time passed by, these things became very difficult to digest. So Bhagwan asked the Yugliks to crush the grains and remove the cover and then eat. So Yuglik started doing that. But as the time passed, it also became very difficult to digest. So Bhagwan Rishabhdev said that crush the grains and herbs and put it in the water and then eat. And as the time passed, that also became very difficult to digest. Then Bhagwan said that take the herbs and then heat it with your palm of your hands and then eat it. And the Yuglik started doing that. Then suddenly one day a fire started by rubbing of the branches of trees together. Uh, it burned the grasses and woods, and this was the first fire of this Ausarpini. So people didn't know what the fire was. So mistaken, they thought this is some kind of shining jewel. So people started to take with the outstretched hands, and because of that, their hands were burned, and they became extremely terrified. And then they went to Bhagwan and said that some wonderful new thing has happened, but we don't know what it is. Bhagwan said that this is fire and it has started because of this time period. Bhagwan told them how to make a vessel of clay, and put herbs in it and cook this in under the fire. So all the Yugliks started doing that. So for the first time, the pottery, the art of making vessels or pottery came into existence. And Bhagwan also taught how to do carpentry, how to build houses. He also taught how to do painting, how to make paints and how to do painting of the house. He also taught how to do weaving of the clothes. And in the absence of Kalparvruksha, Bhagwan himself was like a Kalparvruksha. Then Bhagwan also taught how to do barbary, cutting hairs, how to cut the nails. He established grass gathering, wood carving, plowing, farming, and also the art of trading for the sake of people's livelihood. He taught his son Bharat all the 72 arts and also spiritual knowledge as well. Then Bharat taught all to his brothers and sisters. Bhagwan taught Bahubali the characteristics and subdivision of various animals like elephants, horses, and so on and so forth. He taught alphabets to Brahmi. We have got Brahmi Lipi, right? So Bhagwan taught alphabets to Brahmi, and he taught arithmetic to Sundari, the way to do the counting. Then Bhagwan also established the measures. He established the measures of weighing, the bulk, linear measures, and so on and so forth. He also taught art of jewelry, also the art of gemstones. He also established the court of law, judge, defendant, magistrate, and the court procedures. He also taught medicines, if there is any diseases, what medicines to take. He taught the art of war. He taught the science of politics, and various types of organizations arose. And Bhagwan also taught the art of marriage, how to perform the marriage ceremony. And along with all this, he also taught how to be compassionate. He also told people to be compassionate at all the times. Bhagwan established fourfold structure, and these fourfold structures were Ugras, Bhogas, Rajanyas, and Kshatras. The Ugras were the guardsmen; they formed the army. The Bhogas were all the ministers in his kingdom. The Rajanyas were the companions of Bhagwan, and the Kshatriyas were all the remaining people. Bhagwan prescribed punishment in accordance to the crime, as the doctor prescribes medicine in accordance to the diseases. So, terrified of the punishment, the people did not commit any crimes like theft. Then no one dared to cross the boundaries of anyone else's fields, gardens, or houses. And so, from the time of coronation as a king, the son of Nabi, that is Bhagwan Rishabhdev, passed the 63 lakh purvas. Okay, 63 lakh purvas teaching various types of arts, that is 72 different types of art, and teaching and directing the Bharat Kshetra. Okay, so here we'll end today, and in next class we'll see the Diksha ceremony of Bhagwan and then the Keval Gyan of Bhagwan. So this completes the childhood and the Rajya Vyavastha at the time of Bhagwan Rishabhdev. Okay, so we'll end the class here. So now you can ask if anyone has any questions. Any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then probably we can do a Nokar mantra and we can end. Okay. Namo Ariyantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajrayanam, Namo Loe Sabbasahunam, Eso Panch Namukaro, Sabba Pavo Parasano, Manglarancha Sabve Sim, Paramam Havai Manglam, Jinagra Virudhaya Michami Dukram. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chetal bhai.
Thank you.
Thank you.